And now for another highlight, and one of two keynote speakers. Molly Kaushal is Professor of Performance Studies and head of the Department of Oral and Living Heritage at the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts in New Delhi. She's been engaged with the study of living traditions of Ram Katha since 2007 and has documented more than 16 folk and tribal forms of Ram Katha performances. She has studied and documented several Ram Katha performances. Besides Ram Katha, she's also working on the living traditions of the Mahabharata. May I invite Professor Molly Kaushal for her keynote address.
It is an honor indeed for me to be present here today at this first international conference on Ramleela, being organized by the National Ramleela Council of Trinidad and Tobago in collaboration with the Faculty of Humanities and Education, is that okay? University of West Indies and the University of Trinidad and Tobago, and being supported by Ministry of Diversity and Social Integration, Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Multiculturalism. I'm indeed grateful to you all, and of course to my dear friend Dr. Satnarayan and Professor Samaru, whom I have had an opportunity to meet in India, to Dr. Gupta, with whom I've exchanged numerous messages and have met on Skype, and I've now met him, of course, in person. My heartfelt thanks goes to Mrs. Kamal Ramvati Ramsubik and to all the members of National Ramleela Council who made it possible for me to be here today. What does one say standing in front of this vast, fathomless ocean of Shri Ramayana and his Leela? Ocean with such tumultuous tides and waves, each new and varied, surging forward and returning backward to merge into the ocean, only to surge forth with a new force and a new formation again. So deep and so vast and varied is this lake of Tulsi, and yet despite all diversity and tumultuousness, retains a core, at the center of which stands the Lord of Raghus, calm, compassionate, and composed. The waves emanate from him and dissolve into him. This is his Leela, nay, Maya Leela. I will come back to these two in a little while. From India to South Asia to West Asia, East Asia, Southeast Asia, South Africa, from Caribbeans to UK, USA, Canada, and you name the place, the tide of Ram is sure to have touched them. Wherever the diaspora went or continues to spread, the Ram Katha travels with it, acquiring new names, forms of expression, and multiple levels of meaning and function. As a child, the months of September and October were the most awaited. To begin with, it was a holiday time, and then there was Ramleela. In the small town of Yamunanagar, where I grew up, the Sanatan Dharam Mandir used to organize the most watched Ramleela in the town. And I had to be there every night, night after night, so much so that once my parents decided enough of Ramleela for me. I better pay attention to my study, that how I fainted upon hearing this, and the doctor had to be called in. I was given an injection, and promptly I went back to the Ramleela grounds. Mornings were filled with making small bows and arrows out of a thin blade of bamboo, crowned with cardboards and decorated with tinsel paper taken out of cigarette boxes. And with this we played our little Ramleelas, reenacting what was seen the previous night. And of course, everybody wanted to play Ram. Late afternoons were reserved for grandparents, for whom I played out different characters, Ram and Ravan in particular. And as the shadows fell, I rushed once again to the grounds. There was no question ever in mind, not of the kind that this conference is going to deliberate upon, nor those addressed by most distinguished scholars of Ramayana and Ramleela, nor of those who expounded endlessly on Bhakti and Leela. Ram was God, and one never had any thoughts or doubts or questions about this. And the one who was playing Ram in the Ramleela was Ram indeed. And all that mattered was to be there, to see him, the joy, the thrill of seeing Ram, the cherished moments when he smiled to you, placed a garland around you, or talked to you backstage, was all that mattered. The tears that flew from the eyes when he was exiled, or when he wailed looking for his beloved wife, the anger at Ravan, and the excitement and joy when he was finally killed, and then forgiving him all, when he with joined hands acknowledged the God and sought his refuge, because all he wanted was deliverance. After all, Ravan was no villain. He was a learned Pandit. He was under a curse, and the whole event was only to release him from this curse. This is the story as one knew it, as one heard it, and one saw year after year. As one grew up, had children, it was their turn to play Ram. They didn't have to make their bows and arrows. They had never even watched Ramleela, but there was the Sera. The swords, the masks, the bows, and the arrows were purchased from the Mela, and with it they played out the Ram story. No one in particularly told them the tale, but it was there. Everybody knew it. Everybody dreamt it. The hero of every child, parents who wanted their sons to grow up to be Ram, of girls who wanted their husbands to be like Ram. How does one then begin to talk about this Leela of Ram, which has entered the psyche of every Hindu and perhaps every Indian? It has been internalized to such an extent that no one is free, adoring the lotus feet of Sri Ram, or questioning his actions and deeds, or creating new and alternative Ramayanas, validating his historicity, or emphasizing the gullibility of simple minds. History or myth, the supreme reality or a heroic mythic character, Ram's story is perhaps the single most theme which from the ancient to modern times arouses such great passions. There is a large, indeed very large body of scholarship on Ramayana and Ramleela, some recent and some not so recent. And they've all influenced the way we have come to think about Ramayana, write about Ramayana and Ramleela. And I will leave something out from here because of the shortage of time. But all that I want to say here is that despite all these writings, the last word about Ram and his Leela has not been said, and perhaps would never be. The moment one feels that one has come to grips with it at last, it slips away, changes and transforms right in front of one's eyes, and one is back to the square one. Perhaps because there is no one Ram Katha, no one form of Ramleela, and yet it is there, the familiar, the recognizable Ram Katha. In 2007, I took up a project to document folk and tribal traditions of Ram Katha. Bhili Ram Varta, Gyan Ramayani, Ram Katha by Bhajanis in Bundelkhand, the Mewati Muslim Jogis, Lanka Chadhai, Ankiya Bhavana, Ram Vijay from Assam, Vari Liba of Manipur, and scores of others. Of course, there is localization, domestication, augmentation, contemporization, but at the core of all this remains the love, the adoration, and reverence for Ram and the divine couple, Sita Ram. So to a Bhili woman, Ram exists in every cell and pore of her body, in her very soul. She sings this tale to experience this love, to purify her soul. To some, it may appear a case of Brahmanization. To her, it is pure adulation. And I, again, skip parts and bits from here. We have talked about, in our academic discourses, about the hegemony of Valmiki's text. And there, we are confronted with a legend which gives a gentle knock at the categories with which we have come to understand the fluidity of this tradition. The Brahmins were critical of Tulsi Ramayana, but in Shiva's temple it appeared at the top of all the other scriptures. And one may recount any number of socio-political, socio-economic reasons behind the legend. The fact remains that Tulsi's text was accepted and raised in time from Smriti to Shruti. But was it an alternative text? Or for that matter, did Kamban, Kritivas, Madhav Kandil set out to produce alternative Ramayanas? But the moment I say this, there is a Michael Sudan and there is a Ramaswamy. So the often quoted lines of Tulsi, Jinki rahi bhavna jaisi, Prabhu murti tin dekhi jaisi, does not remain a cliche anymore. And moving out of Tulsi's text acquires a whole new semantics. I'm also tempted to quote another chopai here, but I'll shorten it and just read the last line. Nana bhanti Ram avatara, Ramayan sat koti apara, kalpa bhedhari charit suhai, bhanti anek munisan gai. And this refers to all the texts, tales, stories that existed before Tulsi, during his time, and after him as well, and continue to be created afresh in present times, including religious, political, and for that matter, our academic discourses as well. And to bhavna and kalpabhed, I may also add deshbhed. I'm skipping again from here. Let us look at some other threads that we think we've been able to pass through the tiny hole in the needle, and yet they keep slipping and slipping. The Western scholarship has produced considerable material on Ramleela. Most of it has focused on Banaras, Mathura, Ayodhya, and above all, the Ramnagar Ramleela. But during the Navratras, there are thousands of Ramleelas taking place in every nook and corner of North India. Apart from that are the Yakshaganas, the Kathakalis, the Ankiya Bhavanas performances. Are they not Ramleelas as well? But let us stick for a while with the Ramleela as it is available in North India. Most of them are influenced by Parsi theatre. Many of them are performed as drama proper, where the dialogues are at the heart of the performance. Many of them are performed in rural areas, small townships, on makeshift platforms, where the actors forget their dialogues, and the prompter is no Vyas as in Ramnagar Ramleela, and the spectators not so indulgent. They laugh mirthlessly, they ridicule and pass rude comments. Amidst all this, actors continue to perform, delivering their dialogues in high-pitched voices and excessive gesticulations. It is bad theater, the connoisseurs will tell us, but maybe it is not theater at all. Despite all this pandemonium, there are moments when the audience is awestruck. Tears cloud their eyes, they move to silence, and then all of a sudden, with a burst of energy, shout in unison, Bolo Siyavar Ramchandra ki Jai. What is at work here? Bhakti? Purity of child swarupas? Well, often these roles may be played not by children of 16 and 17, as we've been told in most of the books that are written, but by adults who are anything between 20 and 30 years old, married and with children. Sometimes actors playing Ram or Sita may be caught smoking off stage, yet on stage when they perform, people bow to them and are as thrilled to be garlanded by them as they are in Ramnagar. So this is a big boulder to all the categories that we have come to associate with Ramleela. The divine drama is often combined with titillating dances, crude jokes. You can hear any number of voices that tell you that standards of Ramleela's Maryada has been sullied. It is no more the divine Leela. It has been reduced to vulgarity. There is no Shraddha left. What moves then people to this willing suspension of disbelief or misrecognition, who go and watch night after night, do seva of the Swarupas, are filled with love and moved to tears? And I come now to another category of that only Brahmin children can play the role of the main roles of Sri Ram, Sita. Rajput, Khatris, Muslims, all have known to play these roles. Ramleela is supposed to be a Hindu affair, and yet there are scores of Leelas being performed by Muslims and where the audience sits with joined hands from beginning till the end. I'm skipping examples here because we're running short on time, and I move on to my next. Ramayana is supposed to be an orthodox devotional text of the Hindus, right? But from India to elsewhere in the world, it is being adapted on modern stage to raise contemporary issues, to make subtle and sometimes very loud and clear political messages. Let's recall here the South Hall Ramleela Paula has talked about. Here the Punjabis, the Indo-Caribbeans, the Afro-Caribbeans produce a joint Ramleela, which worked at multiple levels of meaning, was multilingual and multicultural. Ramayana thereby remains a single-most phenomenon which talks in multiple languages, speaks to multiple audiences, responds to multiple contexts, unites communities across the globe, brings them together on a single plane, and the more it changes, the more it remains the same. There is a kind of self-reflexivity that is inbuilt in this text. It makes itself available for reinterpretation, remodeling, and representation. Self-interrogation is an ongoing process here. Paula Richman has written about it in her, and in my opinion, a slightly misleading title, Questioning Ramayanas. The tradition is self-reflexive, yes. It is interrogative, yes, but it is not questioning. The core is never questioned. Self-reflexive mind seeks solutions and provides them. Shankavalis are Shanka Samadhans, so that the core is never shaken. Everyone knows the tale before it was even told, and now being retold. Shiva to Parvati, Shiva to Kak Bhushundi to Shiva, Kak Bhushundi to Garur, Yajyavalak to Bhardwaj. Whoever receives it, internalizes it, and passes it on the way he perceives and conceives it, and yet the core is retained in each telling and retelling. Here Valmiki coexists with Tulsi, Tulsi with Kamban, and Kritivas with Madhav Kandil. Ramnagar Ramleela coexists with other Banarsi Ramleelas, the Nukkar Ramleelas with the Bharatiya Kala Kendra drama, the TV Ramayanas with community Ramleelas, organized Ramleelas with thousands of spontaneous, unorganized Ramleelas. The traditional Ramkatha Pravachans with South Hall, multilingual, multicultural Ramleela, Cambodian Royal Ballet with modern stage productions, which raises the issues of gender biases, cruelty, violence, despotism, and so on and so forth. And all of it is Maya, Leela of Ram. Compassion is at whose core, hope for the hopeless. He undertakes to become human, to relieve the devotees of their pain, to release them from the pain of birth and death, to provide succor to the fallen and the downtrodden. He is the ship to cross the sea of worldly sorrow. And above all, he is Patita Pavan, illuminating the minds and purifying the souls of those who have fallen wayside dharma. To the sinner and to the devotee, to the town dweller and to the forest dweller, we just saw Shabri, to the renouncer and the householder, his compassion flows impartially. His tale is not only a story of good over evil, but reinstating the good in the evil. It is the story of life which emerges victorious again and again from the clutches of death. So when Ram asks Bhardwaj, where should he take residence? Bhardwaj says to him, and I'm just going to read the first few lines and not go read the whole thing. Those who have no lust, anger, arrogance, pride, or infatuation are without greed, excitement, attraction, or aversion, and who free from fraud, hypocrisy, and deceit. It is in their heart that you should abide, O chief of Raghus. Again, those who are beloved of all and friendly to all, to whom joy and sorrow, applause and abuse are alike, and who scrupulously utter truthful and polite words, nay, who are resigned to you, whether awake in sleep, and who have no support other than yourself. It is in their mind, O Ram, that you should dwell. And I'm leaving the rest of it because I know that all of you know this very well. What then Bhardwaj is really saying is an ideal state of being towards which the humanity strives, the true dharma, but whose scales keep going up and down. The balance is always tilting. The constant tension between what is ideal and what exists in reality. And humanity's heroic struggle to regain, reclaim, re-establish the equilibrium is where the eternal core of the Ramayana lies. Whenever Sita is abducted, a metaphor with its broadest connotations, and whenever there is a Chirharan of Draupadi, again in its broadest connotations, the eternal Leela in the Kanak Mahal, the Golden Palace, descends to earth, compelled by the devotees and demons alike, for both seek salvation and deliverance, and both shall be delivered. It is a Leela taking place in the very psychic depth of individual lives, and at the level of the collective psyche. The cosmic, the earthly, and the psychic here are simultaneous. And that what is happening on stage traverses all these three levels, holding time and space in abeyance. It is that moment of Ahilya Uddhar, the moment of deliverance, the moment of freedom of soul. And as in Mahabharata, when time stands still and Krishna reveals his Vishwarupa to Arjuna, each has the right to perceive this moment, to access it, translate it, realize it in his or her own way, individually, collectively, religiously, socially, politically, or whatever else that you may have. I had said that I'll talk about Maya Leela. I'm not going to talk, but here I wanted also to raise issues of translations and translatability of core concepts with which traditions work, and is what we translate as an illusion. And I'm just going to read a bit from Yog Vishisht, where Vishisht explains to Ram, and you can draw your own conclusions from there. The mysterious power of consciousness produces this infinite variety of names and forms. That same consciousness, when it wants to experience itself, becomes the knowable universe. There is no real transformation, for there is nothing other than consciousness. From the infinite emerges and exists in it as infinite. Here the world has never been created. It is the same that from which it has emerged. So this is his Leela Maya, Maya Leela, the mysterious power of consciousness, and most humbly, in our context, I may add aesthetic sensibilities, yours and mine, ours and others. This is another core to meditate upon, but perhaps some other time, on some other occasion. Thank you very much for your patience.
Now we have a bhajan, Ma Sharde, Mother Saraswati, the one who rides on a swan and who plays the veena. You are the goddess of music, and you give music to the world. The vocalist is Anya Ramute, accompanied by Madho Mohan on harmonium, Adarsh Mohan tabla, and Christian Ganesi Majira. From Swaha Sukh Shanti Bhakti Mantali.
Ma Sharde, Ma Sharde, Hansavahini, Veena Pani, Brahma Bhamini, Kala Swamini, Jagatarde, Ma Sharde, Ma Sharde, Hansavahini, Veena Pani, Brahma Bhamini, Kala Swamini, Jagatarde, Ma Sharde. गगन में मर्त्य भवन में मुक्त पवन में जन जीवन में हृदय गगन में मर्त्य भवन में मुक्त पवन में जन जीवन में रश्मि कर दे मां शारदे जन जीवन में रश्मि कर दे मां शारदे मां शारदे हंस वाहिनी वीणा पानी ब्रह्म बामिनी कला स्वामिनी जग तार दे मां शारदे कला स्वामिनी जग तार दे मां शारदे कला स्वामिनी जग तार दे मां शारदे.
Next on the program, served as our Chief Medical Officer, Pandit Dr. Rampersad Parasram, representing the Minister of Transport.
Namaskar Sitaram. Raghavam Ramachandram cha Ravanarim Ramapatim Rajiva Lochanam Ramam Tam Bande Raghunandanam. Greetings to you all, ladies and gentlemen. Protocol requires that I thank the Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Hanuman Singh, for inviting me to make this presentation and to recognize the Honorable Minister, Mr. Clifton Decoto, Minister of National Diversity and Social Integration, the President of the National Ramleela Council of Trinidad and Tobago, and the President of this conference, Mr. Primnath Gupta, and of course the visiting delegates. I've had the privilege of chatting with one or two of them very, very briefly, but I do hope that you enjoy your stay in Trinidad and Tobago and that you will get an opportunity to see some of what we do here in Trinidad and Tobago in keeping alive the tradition of the Rama and the Ram Katha. So, personal welcome to you all. As for the conference itself, on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Transport, Pandit Chandresh Sharma, I extend to you all greetings, and I do hope that this evening's proceedings will yield very positive results, and the coming together of people from various continents for this purpose, for the conference to look at Ramleela traditions, innovations, and future directions will bear good fruit. In fact, it is often said that if we plant a good seed, only good can come out of it. This being the first such conference, the first international Ramleela conference, I am sure this will grow into something much bigger and stronger, and that we will all in this generation benefit from it, and generations to come will record this as a significant event in the world of Ram Katha. So, having said that, I also want to pay tribute to the many people from Kanyakumari in India to the city of Ayodhya to everywhere else where in India people keep alive the Ram Katha and the Ramleela traditions, and in the diaspora countries where people have, against much odds, kept alive the Ramleela traditions. In this country, of course, we came here as indentured laborers in 1845, and then in Guyana in 1838, 7 years before the people came here to Trinidad, they went off to Guyana. And the harshness of the conditions which we had to endure are perhaps in the story of the Jose riots, or the Muharram massacre in Trinidad and Tobago of 1884, when Hindus and Muslims coming together to celebrate another festival, that of Jose or Muharram, 22 of them lost their lives. And that's how harsh conditions were. So no amount of tribute is sufficient to thank those who have kept the Ramleela tradition alive. As far as innovation and future directions are concerned, we have just seen an example of all of that here on stage with the presentation of the Shabari Katha, and not only the use of technology to enhance the story, the screen and the computers and other things, but I was whispering to one of the keynote speakers of how the singer of the story and the dialogue between Sri Ram and Mata Shabri has changed the original writings of Sant Tulsidas, all innovation and creation, and pointing us in a future direction where instead of Prathama Bhakti Santanakar Sanga, Duje Rati Mama Katha Prasanga, and so on, we hear an entirely different set of words. That's how it is. I have no doubt that the words of Sant Tulsidas will remain with us forever, because this katha will be told as it has been told for thousands of years, for many years, when I and many of us have departed this worldly stage. So, as he told us all, Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta, Kahi Sunahi Bahubidi Srutit Santa. As he is without end, so is his glory. And people will hear it in different ways and speak about it in different ways. And so, ladies and gentlemen, it's a privilege to be here on my own behalf, and once again, on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Transport, Mr. Chandra Sharma, I bring you greetings and wish you all the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. We'll have another excerpt from the Ramayana, the title, From Coronation to Banishment.
Pleasant and holy evening to one and all. Our short play from Ram Katha is titled Coronation to Banishment. At one time in creation, there was a demon king called King Ravan. He wanted to rule the universe. His severe austerity and penance had won him a boon from Lord Brahma, and he was blessed by Lord Shiva. He had so much power, not even the gods could face up to him. He brought so much pain and suffering to the earth that gods came together, and in prayer they called upon Mahavishnu to assist them. The Lord promised he will take the form of man as Sri Ram and come to earth as the son of King Dashrath and Queen Kausalya. He will subdue the negative force Ravan and bring peace to the universe.
Yes, brothers and sisters, this is King Ravan, Maha-Abhimani, strong and powerful. He plays with the mind of his people. He controls them like puppets. He caused severe hardship to creation. Negativity has grown out of control. The world cannot take it anymore. Ravan must be subdued. Ah! This is King Ravan. This is Shri Ram, along with Mother Sita and Bhaya Lakshman. As promised, the Lord has taken the form of man. He's the avatar of the Mahavishnu, son of King Dashrath and Queen Kausalya. He has come to restore dharma, to destroy negativity. This is Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram. This beautiful Leela, Ramleela, is narrated by Lord Shiva to Mother Parvati. This is Lord Shiva. As he resides in Mount Kailash, he is called Kailashpati. As he absorbed the poison of the universe, he is called Nilakant. As he performed the cosmic dance, he is called Nataraja. This is Lord Shiva. Let us see what happens as this Leela unravels itself.
King Dashrath, seeing he's going down with age, with the advice of the Raja Sabha, ministers, and Guru, decided to crown Sri Ram as a Yuvaraja. The gods are alarmed and called to Ma Saraswati for help. If Ram is to be crowned Yuvaraja now, the purpose of his incarnation will be defeated. Ma Saraswati answers their prayer. She perverts the mind of Manthara, the maidservant of Queen Keikayi, and Manthara goes to the palace of the queen. Let us see what happens next as this Leela unravels itself.
Mother, mother, open your door. Something terrible is happening. Your life is in trouble and also the life of your son. The Maharaj, together with Queen Kaushal, is plotting to destroy you, to make you a beggar. At dawn tomorrow, Ram will be crowned Yuvraj. Kaushal will be in control of everything. They have been planning this for months and never tell you anything. So what if Ram is crowned Yuvraj? He is a son to me as Bharat is. Why is this taking place while Bharat is away? Isn't it a plan to keep him out? Why is your father not invited? You love Ram so much and this is planning months ago? Why did he not tell you anything? The Maharaj loves you so much. Why did he not tell you? Good lady, if Ram becomes crown prince, you will be like a fly in the milk. You will be discarded with disgust and you and your son will become servants. Or you will be cast out and Bharat will rot in prison. Is that what you want?
Keikayi is finally convinced something is wrong, listening to these unpleasant words.
Now, Queen, did the king not promise you 2 boons while caring for his injuries after battle? Why not ask now that Bharat be the Yuvraj and that Ram be in exile for 14 years? You are indeed a great friend to me, Mantra. Now go to the sulking chamber, express to the king your desire and dissatisfaction.
Keikayi is angry. She's hurt. She's emotionally wrecked. And she's awaiting the king, set like an angry cobra. Let us see what happens next. As King Dashrath finished making arrangement, he decides to tell Queen Keikayi of the coronation of Sri Ram, but did not know he will be met with a shock of his life. Keikayi is set like an angry cobra, and she is waiting for him. King Dashrath, Keika, what is this about? Why are you so angry? Who did that to you?
Enough of that nonsense. You say you love me and I trust you, but you are a hypocrite. Is this the punishment for having faith in you? It is better to die as queen than drag as a slave. This is the last day of my life.
Why are you torturing me like this? Tell me what has happened. Why are you behaving like this? Keika, can you tell me what is the problem?
Remember the 2 boons you promised to me?
Yes, how can I forget? I will never forget. My words is my life. Has anyone hurt you? Are you sick? Did someone say something to hurt you? Speak, let me know. I will face even mortal injury to see you comfortable.
Lord, I hate no one. No one did harm to me. If you promise on oath the desire I have, I will tell you.
Oh Queen, please tell me. Amongst women, you are the most dear to me. I swear on the name of Ram that your desire will be reality.
King, I ask for what is only mine. If you can't give it to me, I do rather die. I think it is most honorable. My 2 wishes: 1, let Bharat be crowned Yuvraj instead of Ram, and 2, let Ram be banished to the Dandaka forest for 14 years.
Dashrath is devastated. He begged Keikayi to change her mind, but she will not give in. Do you not love Ram as your own son? Why? What could he have done to hurt you? Please, Keikayi, please. The king cannot bear the pain anymore, and he falls to the ground. Coronation day comes. King Dashrath is nowhere to be found. A message goes from Queen Keikayi to Sri Ram asking him to come urgently to her palace. Let us see what happens. Shriram walks in.
Father, why do you lament so? What is the cause? Please tell me. I shall try to confer joy in you in the best possible manner. Do not weep, Father. Please don't cry. Ma, why is Father in this state? Is it something I did? Did you and your father have differences that led up to this?
Ram, I nursed the king back to health from war when he was badly hurt. He promised me 2 boons. I now ask him for that promise to be fulfilled. I ask that Bharat be crowned Yuvraj instead of you, and you, Ram, be sent to the Dandaka forest for 14 years. And he is making a big fuss.
It is no reason for Father to lament. Ma, it will happen as you wish. All I want is Father's blessing. If Father commands or you command, it will happen.
Shriram bows to the feet of King Dasarath and then to Queen Kikeyi. His face shines with joy. He's about to fulfill his father's word. And this brings us to the end of our short skit. Thank you, and Sitaram.
We come now to incidentally, that was the Brahma Gyan Ramleela group affiliated to Swaha. We come now to the second keynote speaker. I had the opportunity to attend a conference in Tokyo last year, and I met a young man connected with an officer of the World Hindi Secretariat in Mauritius. And as we spoke, he had a message for my colleague and friend, the President of the National Council of Indian Culture, Pandit Devkinandan Sharma, who is here. He was talking about the relationship between India and the diaspora. And he says that relationship will always be there, but there may be issues that island communities face in culture, and Indian culture in this particular discussion with him, that may be more related. Issues between Mauritius and Trinidad and Tobago, so that there should also be a relationship amongst the diaspora countries because of shared experiences and challenges. I say this, I remember this, as I'm about to introduce the next keynote speaker, Dr. Purnima Ragoobar of Mauritius. May I now invite Dr. Purnima Ragoobar to deliver the second keynote address.
Thank you. The Honorable Mr. Clifford Deco, Minister of National Diversity and Social Integration, Professor Funso Ayajina, Dean, Faculty of Humanities and Education, Dr. Surendra Rampersad, Academy for Arts, Letter, Culture and Public Affairs, University of Trinidad and Tobago, Pandit Dr. Rampersad Parasram, representing the Honorable Mr. Chandrasekhar Sharma, Mrs. Kalavati Ramsubek, President, National Ramleela Council of Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Premnath Gupta, Conference Chair, dignitaries, academics, staff members, and dear students, University of West Indies, distinguished guests, fellow participants, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, allow me to wish you all a happy evening. I have to confess that I am not indifferent to the honor which has been bestowed upon me. I cannot but be grateful to the conveners, advisors, and conference chair for having approached me to deliver the opening speech of this first International Ramleela Conference. While appreciating their request, I sincerely hope that I shall be worthy of the trust placed in me. The theme of this conference is Ramleela in the Global Village, Traditions, Innovations, and Future Directions. My own paper deals with the Ramayana and the Ramleela tradition in Mauritius, a small island located 20 degrees south of the equator, where many years ago our forefathers migrated. My experience of Ramayana and the Ramleela tradition is all the more original since Mauritius is my country of adoption. I have been living there since 1975 when I accompanied my husband as a young bride to his motherland. I'm mentioning this personal piece of information because over the years, I have had ample time to study and understand the culture and ethos of its people. One striking aspect which comes to my mind is how Indian culture and traditions have taken root in this small island, which is a multi-racial and pluricultural society. It has been referred to as a little India beyond the seas. I have no doubt that renowned scholars from different parts of the world will be talking about Ramleela in a world which today has no frontiers and which has shrunk to become a global village. I have come here to learn and to know more about the theme. I have no doubt that I shall leave this place more knowledgeable about the Ramleela as it is celebrated across the diaspora. On a personal note, I would like to mention that the importance of the Ramayana cannot be put into doubt. Verily, it is a book of wisdom which can guide us along the journey of life. It is my belief that many conferences have been organized worldwide to shed light on the wisdom it contains for a better living. Lord Rama is an icon whose life story can act as a source of inspiration to us in our times of selfishness and greed. We cannot afford to forget that human relationship is a luxury. The demarcation life between good and evil has been blurred. It is rightly said that one man's food is another man's poison. Are gathered at this conference scholarly and practice-based participants with an interest in the Ramleela in terms of its diversity, values, traditions, and community approaches. It is a known fact that we have inherited what our forefathers have handed down to us. It is our turn to preserve this legacy and to hand it in turn to the generations to come. One word of caution is needed here. Our world is becoming more and more Euro and American centered. It behoves us, therefore, to motivate our children and grandchildren, the generations to come, in other words, to take pride in their culture and the way of life their grandparents and parents have handed down to them. In so doing, we must not allow them to ignore the best that is to be found in other cultures. When we talk of Indian culture and religion, we cannot but be amazed at their contents and the lessons they have given the world since time immemorial. I'm given to understand that a variety of sub-themes will be addressed at this conference. Today, more than ever, many people are eager to be exposed to the wisdom of the East. The contents of the Ramayana go deeper than what can be seen at surface level. The student of this sacred text can be compared to a pearl diver who has to fathom the deep ocean to find the treasure. Ramleela presentations need be encouraged as they propagate interculturality for one thing. It is celebrated with much fervor among diaspora communities and has resisted the test of time to capture our imagination with ever-existing realities. The Ramleela achieves not only symbolical significance, but it focuses on contemporary realities. Politics, which means the art of the governing the city, is an adequate example. The battle against evil is ever present in life. So is the burn. That is why the characterization of Ravana cannot be ignored. So is the burning of his effigy. He represents every man as in him is illustrated how knowledge without wisdom can lead to one's downfall. There is much truth in the statement that pride leads to a fall. John Milton's characterization of Satan in Paradise Lost offers an eloquent example. The lessons contained in the Ramayana are meant for the conscience of humanity, not for a particular segment of the diaspora whose ancestors hail from the subcontinent. The Ramleela as a tourism product can enable people from other parts of the world to know the messages the Ramayana contains, to put them into practice, and can become part and parcel as what is described as cultural tourism. We then come to the intangible aspects of the Ramleela. Scholars will no doubt deal with the social benefits communities can draw from presentations of Ramleela. Westernized societies can learn a lot about altruism and sharing as much as the spirit of sacrifice at the level of the individual. In Mauritius, the Ramleela is very much associated with the ethos of village life precisely because of his perennial messages. If at all it is invisible in many quarters, appropriate steps must be taken to remedy the situation. Many Westerns come to India in quest of what spiritual India has to offer in terms of values which stand in direct contrast to consumerism and the ego. I laud, therefore, the recent innovations in Ramleela production. Mobile technology is a tool which can disseminate the Ramleela tradition to many parts of the world without, for that matter, depriving it of its essence. This is very important in my view. We should innovate Ramleela traditions without obliterating the core values which are so important in life. These values offer guidelines which ultimately lead one to peace. The peace that passeth understanding, as poet T.S. Eliot puts it. We need inner peace as much as a peaceful environment for our growth and mental development. The socio-religious context of Ramleela in modern society has to be given due attention. Through the life of gods, poet Valmiki is teaching ordinary mortals the art of living and how to achieve contentment. The message of Ramleela crossed frontiers to teach many a lesson to humankind. It encapsulates values which, if put into practice, can make the experience of living pleasant, while at the same time making of us better human beings. The future of humanity in our times of anxiety and crisis depends to a large extent on the lessons enshrined in the sacred epic which the Ramayana is. The Ramleela can definitely bring lots of benefits to the different communities. In a world where interculturality is the talk of the day, exposure of our culture to others will make them appreciate its richness. It often happens that non-Hindus tend to look down upon certain aspects of Hindu culture just through sheer ignorance. The Ramleela also raises gender issues about the role and importance of women in contemporary society. We are living in a world where women are victims of domestic violence, where they are not given the respect that is their due, where regardless of their age, they are victims of ill treatment of all sorts. Even in India, the land of Ramayana. May the eternal message of this epic guide us in our day-to-day behavior towards ourselves and towards others. The Ramayana is a lighthouse which can guide our faltering steps in a world where evil is rampant and innocent people are losing their lives. Its message transcends all frontiers as it brings along with it a lofty message of understanding, compromise, duty, and love. Valmiki has highlighted socio-ethics, which are considered to be the most powerful instruments to discipline and improve the life of humankind. Social ethics move from the individual to society at large. In ethics lie the fundamentals of civilization. The resources of the world are not evenly distributed, and we are far away from the concept of Ram Rajya. It is not impossible to dream of the world as it is depicted in the Ramayana. We can dream dreams and then try to translate them into reality. In direct contrast to Ravana, Lord Rama is depicted as a perfect model of virtue. He fought and vanquished the forces of evil. Evil is in us and in others too. We should conquer the evil in us and try to be at peace with ourselves and our surroundings. The big problem of modern society is that many people are consumers. We are living at times when people believe that they are judged not by what they are, but by what they have. The Ramayana offers us the opportunity to look at life from a different perspective, where everyone, despite his status in society and the role he plays therein, has an importance which cannot be minimized. Today, it is imperative for us to follow traditions, our link with the past. We also have to innovate as we have to move with the times and to tread towards the future in all serenity. This conference comes at the right time. We must innovate while not ignoring the legacy of our forefathers have bequeathed to us. The future has to rest on the past. The teachings of the Ramayana are meant for all times. I wish good luck to all the participants. My thoughts, feelings, and best wishes are with them. As I said, I came here to be enlightened, and I have no doubt I will. It is my belief that besides encouraging an exchange of ideas on Ramleela and Ramayana issues, this conference will set up new networks and parameters. It will also strengthen existing ones. I will be leaving this place with more knowledge than I had when I landed here. I would like to mention here, there is a possibility that the next International Ramleela Conference could be held in Mauritius. I have already started discussion with the head of the Department of Bhojpuri, Folklore and Oral Traditions of the Mahatma Gandhi Institute. It will give me a lot of pleasure if the idea is translated into reality. It is both a pleasure and privilege to be in your midst on this auspicious occasion. May noble thoughts come to us from all sides, and may the eternal spirit of the Ramayana guide us in our deliberations. I'm ending this opening speech on this note, and I wish all the best to the participants. Thank you for your attention.